Alrighty. Good afternoon. This is Annette Mason, Area Director with BNI, and I have with me today Todd Reid, who is with the BNI 100K chapter. Interesting about 100K is that they are coming up on their 24th year as a BNI chapter, and they still have some founding members with this chapter. And I'm going to let Todd introduce himself and tell him a little bit about him and his company and how long he's been with BNI.
Great. Thank you very much, Annette. As Annette mentioned, my name is Todd Reid. I am the owner and broker for dkrentals.net. We are a residential property management company that serves the metropolitan Atlanta area. And I've been a member of BNI for 4 years now. And last year, I was the BNI 100K president. And when my term started, it was a pre-COVID world, and that all changed during my tenure.
That was probably about last year, about mid-March. And tell me a little bit about your COVID experience. What happened with your chapter? How's your chapter? How did you make it through COVID, and how's your chapter doing now?
Yeah, so it was a big change, as I'm sure it was for everyone. We do have a few older folks in our chapter, and so we knew we need to be very careful very quickly. So we actually stopped meeting for a few weeks, and out of safety reasons. And then when we reconvened, we started with Zoom, and we've been doing that ever since. Because everyone was concerned about the safety of our members, our chapter actually embraced Zoom and continues to this day. We have no intentions of meeting together in person until we feel it is safe. And amazingly, our chapter has not only survived but thrived. 100K is now has more members than it's ever had in its history, and as you mentioned, Annette, that's over 20 some years. And we have just surpassed $2 million of thank you for closed business already this year, and our chapter has never passed that milestone. So going virtual has been very good for 100K.
Okay, that's interesting, very interesting. You were also sharing with me about your presidency and some of the changes that you made during your presidency, and you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, what kind of brought that up, and that was when I was listening to a podcast a few days ago. It was either 408 or 409 when Dr. Eisner was talking about the different phases that chapters go through. And that made me think about our chapter, which has gone through a lot of transformation, and painful at times, quite honestly. The good news about it being a chapter that's been around for a while, especially with founding members that are still involved, is obviously there's got to be some goodness going on for people to want to commit to a couple decades to meeting every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. So there's a lot of goodness there, but in some respects, it had come a little bit like a country club, and the feeling was that Palms reports and traffic lights really don't care about that. All we care about is thank you for closed business. And we also had multiple members in our chapter that were in other other closed networking groups. And I really felt that both these items needed to be addressed if we were going to take our chapter and take it to the next level, which clearly had not happened. We really had plateaued for years and years. And so we went through the difficult task of approaching some of these members and letting them know that we want them to stay in 100K, but they had to choose. They couldn't have 2 wives or 2 husbands. And there were some of the older members in our chapter that were really against that, and were very upset with me for even bringing up the issue. They're like, it was never an issue to past presidents. Why are you deciding to take this on? And my response was, I can't speak for previous presidents. All I know is, as your current president, I'm being held accountable to follow the rules of BNI, and the rules are very clear about that. So it was difficult, it was painful, but I can tell you I had incredible support from the BNI directors, even right up to Mike and Kathy, who were, so there were some times I was like, man, this is not worth it. I don't, it's not worth having to argue with these people. And it got pretty tough, but they were right there behind me. Said, you're doing the right thing. And we'll make sure anything you need to support you, we'll be there. And Holly was great. She supports our chapter as well. So through that support, we got through those difficult times. And guess what? Now, as we mentioned, we're larger than we've ever been, and we're doing more thank you to closed business than we have done in the past. We are in our region, we're like number 2 right now compared to other chapters, and we have about 10 or 12 people in the green. And before we had no one in the green when we first got started in this endeavor. So I think, again, it just proves that the process works.
Right. Thank you, Todd. I appreciate you giving that testimonial and that information. Is there anything else you want to add? Any advice that you would give to a BNI member in our current environment?
Just first of all, COVID is difficult for everyone, but there's some real positives to Zoom. So embrace it. It's much easier to get to bring visitors because they don't have to go travel to your location. And but on the other hand, I think it's really important to do lots of one-to-ones now more than ever, because you're not having the informal meeting time before or after your chapter. So for your new members, really go out there and reach out to them. I know Dr. Weiss, who's a chiropractor in our group, had a client come over and who's in our chapter, and just happened to, there's another chapter member there, and these folks had been members for 8, 9, 10 months, and they'd never met each other in person, even though we see each other Thursday morning. So that really, I think, is a great point, to make sure that you go out and do the one-to-ones, especially with your new members, to keep them and make them feel they feel part of the group.
Right. Great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving your information and testimonial, and I appreciate you being a stellar BNI member. So
well, thank you, Annette. If there's any presidents out there that sometimes feel a little alone, and feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and just share some of our experiences at 100K.
all right. Thank you very much.